Good morning, folks. My name's the Second Son. If you know me, hi. If you don't, now you do. I've talked about building my house on this channel before. This is the 14th and final brace for my house. So I figured I'd show you how I make them, just to make sure that I know what I'm doing. I can check myself off of you. Step 1. This brace braces a 30 by 30 triangle. And so the brace itself will be 42 and 7/16 inches. An important step with almost everything timber framing, your shoulder to shoulder length, which is what we just calculated, is never the longest length of your timber. Well, almost never. Especially when we're considering braces. Braces, we need to leave at least 3 inches off the edge here. 3 is good enough. It does feel a little tight on the layout. Kind of spooky. And then 42 and 7/16 plus 3. Very nice. So these two faces are reference faces. You're supposed to pick the most square and the straightest and like the prettiest edge. I allow other things to influence that decision, especially because I have a pretty good sawyer. Sawman. So I've drawn a guideline. I've scribbled on a line somewhere on my thing here. I've drawn a guideline. That guideline now influences basically the rest of all of my other lines. You also see me leave a mark here. That is a 3/8 inch shoulder. As I mark everything out, instead of marking things out to where it meets down here, I'll just mark them out so that they meet here. So what these lines are and how we're getting them and the reason I'm hanging things all over the place here. I'm striking a 45. This is 14 inches long here, so you lay 14 inches out on this piece here, right? And now you have a 45 degree line on your timber. Nice. Okay, now hopefully you can start to see the actual structure of the brace, or of the tenon of the brace. Right? So if you imagine these pieces coming off, right? This is line 3. Right? So you take line 3 and you cut it off, and you take line 2, you cut it off, and then you take line 1 and you cut 1.5 inches deep and you shear that off. That square is your tenon, just at a 45 degree angle to your board. So I've gone and drawn line 2 first again. Don't yell at me. But there you go, that's your brace layout. So now we'll cut, but it's important, we'll cut in reverse order. We'll cut 3, 2, 1. The reason we're doing that, well, it's because 1 doesn't go all the way through. 3 and 2 both do. 3 is probably our least important cut because this face, when it's in its mortise, doesn't actually touch anything. This piece does have weight resting on it, so we want this piece to be relatively square and flat. With all of that out of the way, let's draw more lines because we have to take all of these lines all the way around. Very nice. Alright, let's flip this up. The nice part about these squares is that they always have a 45 just kind of on them. But it seems inevitably that the 45 I need is always a little bit less than an actual 45. That's cut. Line number 3. That was bad and ugly and stupid. Now's the point. Take this. Do what you should have been able to do with the goddamn saw. Alright, now that we've cut it pretty square. Round 28. It's actually 30. I messed one up. Hey, you know what? That turned out alright. Hey-oh! That looks great. Now we're taking off line 1. We'll do the same on that side at some point. So, if you have a knot in here, I like to cut this line as a relief cut to get at least this face nice. But since we don't have a nut, we can clear a lot of material at once here, which is quite nice. This is always very fun. Yeah, we are running into a little bit of a knot here. Yeah, because there's a knot on the backside here. So as we pare down to this, we're going to hit that knot more and more, which is slightly unfortunate. The pleasures of pine and a sharp chisel. Nice. Now that that's happened, we'll do it again. Very nice. There it is. So I'm paring down my corner until the little curl that I bring up has some pencil on it. Just a little bit, not very much. And what that does is it gives me this angle that I can watch disappear as I pare down to my line here. If I do that on all sides, it shows me where a square tenon is. It also gives me a corner to work off of. It's easy to grab, although you can just end up digging your own little hole back here if you do that too much. Although I think this back corner is just high. A little bit. Seems always that this is the best angle for cleaning up a brace. I don't know why, but this always seems to cut the best. There you go. Brace. Turned out well enough that I can use it. There's a few sad parts here and there where I jammed it with my chisel. But in the end, no one will ever know.